Now we're playing with Superpower. Super Punch-Out is commonly regarded as the worst of the big three, and I couldn't agree less. That said, we're not here to talk about quality, we're here to talk about difficulty. So let's head into extra innings and get this party started. Man, I feel kinda bad for Gabby J. He's technically far superior to his younger counterpart with faster attacks, less stun time, an upgraded taunt punch, and a healing move. That said, it's not him that makes it easy, it's you. Super Little Mac is far superior to regular Little Mac, mainly because he has no stamina to worry about, meaning you could just kinda mash and you'll probably beat Gabby. While most fighters have a way to counter this, Gabby doesn't, meaning you could just kinda wail on him without even having to see most of his attacks, which sucks, because he's far superior to his mentor. That said, he fails to be harder than any of Joe's fights in my opinion, and is not only the easiest fighter in this game, but the easiest fighter in the series. Not even a fourth of the way in, and we already have a hot take. Piston Hurricane is very similar to Gabby J in that he's technically superior to his Mike Tyson's counterpart, but Super's Little Mac is just too powerful. His Hurricane Rush is a lot harder conceptually than the Honda Rush, and his attacks are decently fast, but it's incredibly easy to just mash. In fact, this guy is easily the easiest fighter to speedrun in the entire game. The only thing saving him is the fancy footwork phase, because he has an actual Punisher if you try to counter his taunt. But that attack is only in one phase, which will probably be over in a few seconds anyway. Bear Hugger is surprisingly hard for a second fighter. His attacks are decently strong, and his defense is pretty tight. If you try to punch his gut, he'll taunt you, and if you try to punch his face, he'll block and counter with a Bear Hug, which, while not nearly as devastating as any of the other iterations, is definitely his most powerful attack. That said, once you know his Bear Hug exists, you can take advantage of it. If you counter his Bear Hug with a flurry, you get a whopping 7 punches, which will do a lot of damage. His other attacks are also just very basic, meaning he's essentially just has one attack, but hey, at least he has good defense. Bob Charlie can be summed up in 4 words. All style, no substance. All of his attacks have good presentation, but they're all just basic. Take the Jive Uppercut, for example. It's just an uppercut with a long windup. Or hey, look at the Double Hook. It's pretty fast, has a tight dodge window, and can't be countered. You can just do nothing, and you'll block it. The only thing putting him above the others so far is that he'll move around a lot, dodging your punches and supers, which makes him one of the harder early game bosses to speedrun. But yeah, he's really not difficult at all. Bald Bull at number 12 might sound blasphemous, but trust me, Bald Bull got quite the nerf. Yes, he has the Bull Charge, but he doesn't have his rolling jab, shuffle hooks, or anything that gives him personality. The Bull Charge is the only thing in this fight that makes Bald Bull, Bald Bull. The only new things he has are 2 combos, being a 3 jab combo ending with an uppercut, and a 2 uppercut combo. That said, good luck seeing these attacks because it takes ages to use them. The only thing he has is the Bull Charge, which is difficult to parry as usual, but unlike every other iteration, you don't even need to parry it. This fight does feel like a title bout, but it also definitely feels like a minor circuit title bout, and that's not a good thing for Bald Bull. Dragon Chan is the first fighter in this game to actually feel like a roadblock. He has his Dragon Kick, which is an instant knockdown, his Dragon Rush, which definitely requires you to pay attention, and his Dragon Rejuvenation, which heals him. That said, he gives way too much stun. Just from the first 3 punches, you can get a whopping 13 punches, which is more than enough to get a super. You can also use a flurry after both of his kick-based attacks, which basically guarantees him getting dizzy. I really wish this game had title defense because it would be great to see what this guy could do without the burden of dozens of hits worth of stun. Beggars can't be choosers though. Aran Ryan is surprisingly similar to Piston Hurricane, only with faster attacks, less stun time, and much more HP. That said, if you can fill your super meter, he doesn't stand a chance. Aran is the spiritual successor to the 2 arcade-exclusive fighters, that being Kid Quick and Pizza Pasta. The Kid Quick part is how he takes very little damage unless you use supers, and the Pizza Pasta part comes after you manage to land a super on him. Now, this attack may seem like a guaranteed health and super meter loss, but you can actually just parry this attack when you see his hands jitter, which will put him into stun, and you can then use another super. And then he'll counter with another clinch, which you can parry, which will put him into stun, and then you can use another super, and then he'll counter with another clinch, which you can parry, which will put him into stun, and then you can use another super, and then he'll counter with another clinch, which you can parry. Do you see the problem here? While it may be difficult to figure out how to do this, once you do, this fight is piss easy. That said, much like Pizza Pasta, figuring out how to beat the boss is complicated enough to put this boss up here. Oh, and speaking of puzzle bosses... For being in the special circuit, Narcis Prince is surprisingly easy. Much like Aran, the main challenge is figuring out how to do damage. Despite being a boxer, he really doesn't like being punched in the face, so he'll do everything he can to guard it. That said, if he whiffs an uppercut or his triple hook, you can actually stun him and finally give him some retribution, in which case he'll drop the facade and start going ham. While enraged, he does more damage and is faster, but there's a problem. He stops trying to block his face, meaning you could just wail on him, and he'll only calm down when getting up from a knockdown or by the urging of his cornerman. That said, it's not likely his cornerman will get a hold of him before you knock him down because of how much damage jabs do. Seriously, a super to the face will do a whole 1/6 of his HP. Masked Muscle is quite unorthodox, making him a decently finicky fighter. He also has some unique special attacks, including a headbutt that hits twice, an attack where he spits you with poison mist, making you see in mode 7 and disabling your ability to punch for around 15 seconds. He also has some decent combos, making him a great fight to lead into... Mr. Sandman, the Major Circuit Champion. Much like in Wii, he has some smart timings to throw you off and force you to utilize long dodges, and one of his special attacks has him using 3 jabs, with the last one hitting through your guard if you're blocking. He also has a Dreamland uppercut, but it's not nearly as powerful as the Dreamland Express. That said, once he gets up from his second knockdown, it's revealed that he was just holding back, so he takes off the restraints and goes whole hog. He'll now do his signature Dreamland Express as well as his jab combo. He also uses his attacks in very intricate patterns specifically designed to make you mess up. While he may have gotten a demotion, Sandman is still an amazing gut check. Here's another big hot take. In fact, it's probably gonna be the biggest hot take of this video. A lot of people say this fight is really hard, and I can kinda understand why, but I only ever really found Macho that hard the first time I fought him. All of his attacks are really only bad the first time. Case in point, the exercise program. Program A is a rush of 4 punches, Program B is a rush of 3 hooks, and Program C is a Dreamland Express. They're all devastating the first time you get hit by them, but once you know which program is which, you shouldn't have any trouble with them. The Macho spin and clothesline are also very easy to predict because Macho will just sit there for a while before throwing them. Yes, his attacks are fast, but his patterns are surprisingly simple for the World Circuit champion. Heike Kagero is probably the most unorthodox fighter in the whole game. His style is so odd and his patterns feel so unnatural, and that's not even mentioning his special attacks. His specials are very similar to Macho, except much faster. He has a rush of 4 punches finished off with an uppercut, and a double hook also finished off with an uppercut. And of course, his hair whip with which forces you to duck and dodge. How his hair is that strong is beyond me. Hey, Heike, you mind telling me your hardcore routine? For apparently wanting to steal the show, Mad Clown really likes making you the clown here. He has a chop that he can use on its own, or can chain it together with an uppercut. He also has an ear clap which heals him, and then he'll throw you to the side and smack you with an uppercut. Oh, is that not enough? Well then, try dealing with a projectile fighter. He'll throw 3 rounds of balls at you, ending off with an instant knockdown ear clap. And finally, when he gets up from his second knockdown, he'll throw dozens of jabs at you, throwing in some other attacks in between, including hooks, uppercuts, and chops. That said, a joke isn't funny when you know it's coming. You can block the jabs, or even parry them. In fact, you can parry most of his attacks, including the massive ear clap, which instantly knocks him down. Overall, if you can predict his comedy routine, you won't be the clown here. Quarlow is easily the most unique fighter, not just in this game, but in the whole series. He brings a literal cane into the ring. Guess you could say that's some chicaneery. Wait, don't click off the video. Anyways, attacks with his staff include a triple high jab, a double low jab, a single low jab, and a rush of 10 hits, either alternating 6 high and 4 low, or 2 low, 3 high, 2 low, 3 high. Other attacks include a palm strike, a backhand, and a leaping kick. He can also do a similar thing to Mad Clown, where he throws you across the ring and smacks you with a perfectly timed attack. The only difference being he can just decide to do this whenever he blocks a punch. And finally, he has an attack where he'll jump around the ring and try to smack you with his cane. But that's not all, because when you stun him, you need to hit him back and forth for whatever reason. This fight is beyond confusing. Hoi has a list of rules you need to follow when fighting him, and if you break the rules, he'll destroy your super meter with a flurry of hits. That said, one of the catchphrases of Punch-Out is "Let's keep it clean," so take that to heart and use it. Wow, the penultimate boss is in second place? Who would have thought? Instead of using cheap tricks like Clown, Heike, and Hoi, Bruiser has gone with the classic Punch-Out strategy of punishing you when you mess up more than a strict parent. Their attacks are fast and strong, and he'll often lean into his attacks, forcing you to counter in the right direction or else it won't count. He also has a fast 3-hit combo. The 2 jabs aren't anything to bat an eye at, but it's the uppercut that's the problem. He even has an incredibly fast counter he uses when you either hit him while he's not in stun or when you hit him with a super. And while you can block it, don't go thinking this will be an Aran Ryan situation. You can't counter this attack, meaning if you try, he's just gonna block and throw one of his main cheap shots. That leads into the main difficulty of this fight. While Rick is much more orthodox than half of the fighters you've faced thus far, he isn't above cheap tricks. While his uppercut isn't too bad on its own, he can sometimes lead it into an elbow, which is just as strong. Speaking of elbows, he can jump and elbow the floor, causing an entire earthquake like he's fucking queso. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad, I'll just dodge it. Oh, you poor innocent fool. No matter which way you dodge, you'll still be stunned. That said, wherever you are on the screen, make sure it's not where he can hit you, because otherwise he'll smack you with an instant knockdown uppercut. Oh, but wait, we're not done yet. You see, if he blocks a punch, he has the ability to break your hand with another elbow, which disables that hand. And that's kind of a problem considering what I just said about Rick leaning into his attacks. That said, you can dodge and punish, but if you thought that would be easy, think again because it's one directional. Rick Bruiser is an absolute unit of a man, but unfortunately, he's the younger brother, so no matter what he does, he'll always be known as the lesser of the two brothers. Hey, younger sibling superiority, bro. You and me homies. Anyways, time for the exceedingly obvious top spot. Nick Bruiser, the champion of the special circuit. The best canon boxer in the Punch-Out universe, save for Mr. Dream. The pinnacle of boxing as a whole. Let's start from the very beginning. He starts the fight by smacking you with the fastest punches in the whole game, only telegraphed by him just freezing up. These punches also deal insane damage, with only 3 of them being enough to knock you down. After 6 of these, he'll realize it's not working, jump back, and destroy you with an instant knockdown elbow. Even if you can dodge this attack, don't get cocky, because he immediately throws 2 hooks, forcing you to duck. This attack is kinda similar to King Hippo's squash and slam, except in reverse. After that, he goes back to basics, throwing jabs, hooks, and uppercuts. That said, he still has some specials to screw you over. Aside from his elbow, he also has a double uppercut, forcing you to quick dodge twice. Not to mention, if you want to punish this guy with supers, good luck since he's more than prepared to dodge, or even block and break your hand just like Rick. That said, this is much worse on Nick than with Rick, because he has the Quarlow gimmick of shuffling side to side when in stun. He can also break both of your hands, leaving you completely defenseless, much like Masked Muscle. And even when you're able to use your hands again, your normal punches won't do shit. He's easily the most durable fighter of the game, and because of that, he can beat you without even having to take you to the mat. Nick is the only fighter in the game that has a reasonable chance of timing you out, since the fights are only 1 round, and when the round ends, you lose automatically. But that said, none of this, and I mean none of it, holds a candle to his super move. The super move has him using 12 of those devastating punches he uses at the beginning, ending off with an uppercut that's just delayed enough to make you dodge too quickly. And no matter what you do, you will take damage. Wanna dodge? Well, if you haven't mastered quick dodging, you're fucked. Also make sure to count to 12, because otherwise you'll get smacked with an uppercut. Wanna block? Well, too bad, because even blocking makes you take chip damage. And even the chip damage is enough to knock you down. The best way to deal with this attack is to time a flurry perfectly to counter all of Nick's punches, but even that's not easy. Nick Bruiser is the culmination of every single fight in this game. The variety of Masked Muscle and Mad Clown, the defensive Bear Hugger and Narcis Prince, the rush of Piston Hurricane and Aran Ryan, the unorthodoxity of Bob Charlie, Dragon Chan, Heike, Kagero, and Quarlow, and the pure raw power of Bald Bull, Mr. Sandman, Super Macho Man, and Rick Bruiser. That said, Nick may be a brute, but much like Title Defense Soda Pop, he's no Tyson. So if you can use your supers and flurries smartly and learn his attacks and patterns, you'll be able to really reinforce that he is, always has been, and always will be, second place. Outpace, outsmart, outreact, and outbox this last opponent, and take everything from him. Super Punch-Out is a weird game. It's not bad by any means, but it's very different from its predecessors. This game has a lot of detractors who think it's the worst of the big three, but I'm far from one of them. In my opinion, this game is such a unique experience. I believe this game teaches a lesson to its players. It teaches them to be brave, seize opportunity, not take every opening, but only the best ones. And I genuinely believe that everyone who's played this game is just a little bit better for it. And people are still playing this game to this day. There was a secret 2-player mode discovered not too long ago. Even the detractors can understand how much love there is for Super Punch-Out. To everyone watching this video, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no matter your skill at video games, if you have access to either Switch Online or a PC that can run games, I urge you to play this. If nothing else I've said in the series has convinced you to play these games, let this. Super Punch-Out is genuinely one of my favorite games of all time from a purely personal perspective. And no matter what, even if Nintendo comes back to this franchise and makes more games, this game will always be my favorite, even among all of my favorite non-Punch-Out games. There's only one game that could even hold a candle to this one from a purely personal perspective. Super Punch-Out isn't my favorite game of all time, but it is the one I love the most, and no matter how many other games come out, that's never gonna change. Thanks for watching, champ. Hopefully we can do this again one day. Keep those gloves hung up and that joystick smoking, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.